Benny Thompson. And the guy who wants to replace Benny Thompson is with us. Brian Flowers, candidate 2nd Congressional District. Brian, good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, Paul. Appreciate you having me on.
It's good to have you. Benny Thompson has had the spotlight for a long time. Tell me how the campaign's going.
Campaign's going great. I've learned quite a bit since the last time I ran last election, and we've made adjustments, and we're looking at basically getting into the black community a little bit more than we were able to the last time, and just basically get out to people and let them know that I'm not your typical Republican, meaning that I'm looking to work for everybody in the state, not just what they have been told Republicans are.
You've been able to make that sale?
I have. In fact, I've got several influential black leaders currently right now in Hinds County, in Jackson itself, and we're making inroads currently as we speak.
I think you understand, if lightning strikes in that district, in that particular race, it's going to be because you've had an unbelievable ground game to get the votes out. And I know it's not easy, Brian, but what are you doing to get that done?
Well, like I said, I mean, we're having to get out to the black community. We're energizing our Republican base by getting out and going county to county to county to county and talking to the Republican Party, talking to the Republican women. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the Republican women, that's where your ground game is going to be at. These ladies know how to get the word out. They will spread the word like wildfire. And that's what we're targeting right now. And like you said, the ground game is going to be key. Those 4 new counties that we just picked up, we lost 65,000 people in District 2. And they ended up giving us 4 new counties to make up for it. To be honest with you, I tell everybody down there, I'm sorry you guys got pulled into this district, because you look at the rest of District 2 and you look who you have representing you, it's a lack of representation. And I'm sorry, but if you don't want the rest of your counties to look like the rest of District 2, then you need to vote for me. And it seems to be resonating.
When you can get somebody to honestly talk to you with no cameras, anything behind you or in front of you, and say, look, he's been here a long time. Mm-hmm. Most of the people that vote for him have suffered and become poor during this period of time. Why do you keep voting? Is it only because African American, if it's African American voters, or just because he's a Democrat, regardless of your color? What's the answer that they give you?
Well, last election, I asked that very same thing. A gentleman up in Water Valley, and I was like, "Why is it that Benny Thompson keeps getting voted in?" And his answer was intimidation. You know, he is under the impression and believes wholeheartedly that if he doesn't vote for Benny Thompson, somehow Benny's going to find out and Benny's going to come after him. And that's what these people have been led to believe.
So they actually think he knows how they voted, and there will be some retribution.
Right. And in the primary, yes, you can figure out, which way you voted if you voted Republican or Democrat. However, in the general election, when you're behind that little cardboard barrier, there's nobody's going to know who you voted for or anything like that. And people need to understand that. The primary, yes, you can see who voted Republican or Democrat. But in the general, you can vote for whoever you want to, and nobody's going to know which way you voted.
Brian Flowers, candidate for 2nd Congressional District. Brian, do you think maybe some of the people, Benny Thompson people over in the western counties that are adjacent to the river, that his deal with the Yazoo pumps, maybe that they've influenced them a little bit? They're not happy with it?
Well, you hit a subject there. Yeah. Everybody, I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, white, black, male or female, he done ticked everybody off over there. It's funny. When he did that, it made people mad that it didn't even affect. I mean, it made me mad that it didn't even affect me. I live in Clinton, Mississippi. The pumps had nothing to do with me. But it made me mad just for the simple fact that if he's willing to do that and stab his own constituents in the back, this time, even though it doesn't affect you this time, what happens the next time that he gets paid to do something else that it does affect you? You know, he's already proven that he doesn't care about the constituents he represents. He's all about Benny, all about lining those pockets, and he ticked everybody off. White, black, male, female, it didn't matter. He ticked everybody off.
For the people who don't know Brian Flowers, have you put together some bullet points as far as a platform or some of the things that you really want to accomplish?
I did. And, you know, a lot of the bullet points and things that I'm wanting to accomplish is something that more or less it needs to get done nationwide. But I'm wanting to mainly focus here on in Mississippi and in District 2 specifically. And it's education, it's infrastructure, and it's bringing more jobs into the district. And education, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to get the education. One of the reasons I even jumped into this race was my girls. I've got 3 daughters, 3 teenage daughters that are still in the school system. And the way that they're trying to push this CRT on everybody and rename it and finagle it into the different courses, you know, really got me, and that's when I jumped into this because of my daughters. But then I started looking at other school districts. You take Port Gibson School District. Port Gibson High School graduation rate 88%. Of that 88%, only 5% are proficient in math. Only 10% are proficient in English. To me, we're failing our children, but not only are we failing our children, we're failing the future leaders of America and the ones that are supposed to be replacing us when we move on later in life. And that was just the beginning part of it. I'd like to ultimately see the U.S. Department of Education completely dissolved and take away that carrot away from the federal government saying, hey, we give you federal cash, so you need to do what we tell you to do regarding this subject, or whatever it may be. Infrastructure, you know, I mean, we need to upgrade what we currently have. We need to get rid of this idea we need a Green New Deal. One, these electric cars that they're wanting to put on the road, there's not enough power plants in the United States to power up all these cars, plus the homes that people need to run, the electricity that people need to run their homes. We need to upgrade our current infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, so we don't end up in a ditch somewhere. You know, or just up and down the river. You've got our river ports that need to be upgraded. You've got all the railways, the airports, anything that we use to move commodities around, those need to be upgraded. Once you get the education and the infrastructure in place, bringing jobs into the district will fall into place because you have infrastructure in place, you have educational training facilities in place. You know, companies aren't going to bring their corporations to a place that just looks like crap. I'm sorry. I mean, just call it how it is. Once we get that up to date, then we can start bringing these companies in here, creating new jobs. I had a gentleman down in Franklin County, one of the 4 new districts that we just picked up. Mr. Flowers, we need some sort of industry down here. I don't care if it's a paper mill, a sawmill, something. We don't have anything. These people need jobs. They need a way to provide for their families.
I agree wholeheartedly. Well, it sounds like you're all wound up and ready to go.
I have never been more wound up. I'm ready to get this job done. We need to get through this primary. We need to move past my opponent, get past him, and just focus on Benny. And that's the true test of this campaign. And I think we're up for the challenge.
Brian, it sounds like you are. Thank you for spending some time with us, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Brian Flowers, candidate, Republican Party for the Congressional District, 2nd District.